Hey, I'm Don. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I make videos centered around lifestyle, mental health, and work/school related content. Today's video is going to be about how to know who to ask for a recommendation/reference. So I think that this is so important, having worked with you all, and as you're applying to graduate school, as you're applying for new jobs, and that could be one of the most difficult parts, right? When there are outside people involved in your process. And so it is important that we are bringing people alongside us that's really for us, that's really here to help us. And so I'm going to discuss some ways in which we can make sure that we're selecting the right people. And if we don't have the right people, I'm also going to share how we could do that. I think that could be a separate video, but I'm going to include it in this video. So the first thing I think that you should do is you should create a list of people that just come to mind for a recommendation or reference, and think about your experience with them. Was it a good experience? What was the relationship? What were the interactions that you had with them? What were the outcomes of those interactions or those projects that you may have worked on? When you think about how this person speaks about you, is it good? Have you ever heard them say anything negative about you? Have you heard them share positive things about you? We want to think about how they've spoken about us. Have they spoken positively about us? Have they spoken negatively about us? You want to think about all of those things. And so think about what it is that you are wanting this person to say, and then think, have you had the experience for them to say it, but also have they actually said it to you before? And that could be an indicator of, if this is even a person that is for you. Now, the next step is you want to think about this person's skill set. So this may be a good person. This may be a person that you really like, and they probably can speak highly about you, but with a reference or a recommendation, those are time-sensitive things, so they have to be people who are dependable and reliable. They're going to answer their phone and email if someone calls or emails them. They are going to submit their letter of recommendation on time if it's a letter. And so when you are responding to them or corresponding with them via email, are they responding quickly, or is it a lag? Are they responding within 24 to 48 hours? Are they answering those calls or returning those calls quickly? Think about that. And what do other people say about their punctuality? Have you heard students complain about a professor never getting back to them? Or have you heard students or professionals share that they are still waiting for a response for this person, or maybe they never held up their end of the bargain? Those are things that you want to think about when selecting a recommender or reference, because the last thing you want is for that to happen to you. Because if they can't get a hold to your reference, if they can't get a hold to your recommender, or they don't receive what they're supposed to receive from them, then that can really impact your admissions or selection for whatever it is that you are applying for. So those are some things to think about. The last thing I'll say about that is you want to be intentional about the settings. I know for some places they're very explicit, like when you're applying to programs, they're very specific about who they want your reference to be. Many times they want it to be a person that you've worked with, or they want it to be a direct supervisor. If it's grad programs, typically they want 2 professors that can speak to your academic talent. So that kind of limits who you can ask. But again, if you have clarifying questions, you can always contact your school. If it's for work, you can always contact work. But again, with that said, you can think outside of the box for people to ask if there are organizations that you volunteered for, if there's, you know, and if there's an initiative that you're a part of and you think that you would benefit from having, you know, them speak to you, and it shows a different side of you that's maybe not covered in your application, but that's an important component of who you are, then I definitely think that it's worth exploring. So an example could be if you were maybe involved in Greek life on the undergrad or graduate level. If you're applying for a new job or you're applying, you know, to grad school, there's room for you to include unpaid professional experiences. And so when you are organizing events and you are on planning committees and things of that nature, whoever the chair of that committee is, or maybe your chapter president, they could write a letter on your behalf because if they've worked closely with you and they can speak highly of you, and that will count and that will be valued with an admissions committee or with a hiring committee. So, you know, again, be intentional and kind of think outside of the box for people to ask. And the same could be in your faith community. The same could be in, you know, other nonprofit organizations that you may be part of. The last thing I'll discuss is what to do if you have no one in your life that you can ask. Sometimes that happens. Maybe you weren't the most active in the classroom, but you performed well and you were introspective. Or maybe you've had some series of unfortunate events occur. Or maybe, you know, there just was a disconnect, or maybe the relationship just dissolved on its own without explanation. I know I've definitely had that happen, and it, you know, it can be really unfortunate. It could be a really scary thing when somebody that you have worked so hard with and you've done so much with just kind of ghost you, and, you know, or it's not supportive of you without any explanation, or they're unresponsive. And so if that's the case, then I would say that you need to look for new opportunities to develop relationships with people. So that may mean enrolling in a new course. And so that's something that you may need to do, is enroll in a new course to develop the relationship with the professor, and then ask that most recent professor for a class that is related to the program of your interest to write your letter of recommendation. The other thing that you could do is seek out volunteer opportunities and have that volunteer coordinator write you a letter of recommendation or serve as a reference to your job search. So definitely be innovative, be creative, think outside of the box as it pertains to creating new relationships, and be intentional, be upfront about your objectives for this relationship. You know, that person will appreciate that, and they will know how to proceed, and they will make sure that they're doing the things to help you achieve your goals as well. So that's it for this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment in the comment section below what has been your experience asking for recommendations or asking for references. I'd love to hear them down below. And if you're interested in working with me, check out the link in my description box. I'm running a 50% off sale, and so if you have trouble using the code, don't input the code. Well, input the code, but if it's not working, don't submit the payment. Simply reach out to me and via email at donzolampkins@gmail.com, and I will be sure to work with you. I will be sure to set up an alternative payment so you can get that discount. Thanks so much for watching, and until I see you next time, be you, be great.